So hello everybody. Yes, my name is Taavi Kotka, and I work for the government. Sorry about that. Yes, you might think like, why this perfectly healthy man like needs to work for the government? I mean, like, should I have some kind of disability or something? But yeah, I'm a software engineer. I started as a programmer, as said. I was a successful entrepreneur. And after 12 years entrepreneurship, I sold my shares. And when you sell your shares, you got this non-competition clause. So you can't compete in private sector for a certain period. And Estonia is a small country. It's 1.3 million people, so we're all relatives. And we always meet in funerals and weddings. So the Minister of Economy saw that I'm unemployed. And then said, like, why not you come and work for the government? Of course, I said, no, I can't. But after all, they promised me that I can do whatever I want to do, and I have unlimited budget. And I have to say, I have unlimited budget. So I have more money on IT than I can actually spend. So great job, government. So that's why I'm working for the government. Of course, I was lucky when I sold my shares. I earned enough money, so actually I can afford working for the government. But that's an extra case. Yeah. So yeah, that's me. Not too much to talk about that. But I come from Estonia. So as said, it's an old German colony. And if all Germans here, if you think how the colony is doing, it does great. Yeah, 700 years of ruling. We are still disciplined. As you know, we are here, no government debt. So your colony is doing great, so don't worry. But this picture is actually important. It's a small country, 1.3 million people, but on a land-wise, it's actually bigger than Netherlands or Belgium, or even Switzerland. So that's actually the reason of e-Estonia. Estonia is not an e-country because we want to be like some kind of far, or like let's be something cool. Historically, it was the only reason how you actually can govern the country. If you have only 1.3 million people spread on this amount of land, you get a density of less than 4 people per square kilometer. So the only way how you can serve people from the public sector side or private sector side is to push people to self-serve themselves. So you can't have a bank office in every small village. You can't have a government officer in every small village. You have to push people to self-service. And that's the reason of e-Estonia. And that we started already 16 years ago, so it's an old thing. So it's not because we want to be in a country, it's because that's the only way how we can manage this country. So that's the reason. So yes, we started all this forcing people to use internet, all these services. I mean, we have basically e-service of everything. It's funny, but we even have a e-service for Olympic winners, where they can apply for pension, the government pension. And now, if you think about it, how many Olympic winners Estonia has? So that's just an example of the absolute you can go with e-services. And of course, it's ridiculous. So we should close it down. So another great thing we understood already 16 years ago, we actually copied it from Finland, is that if you want to push people to use the internet, you need to understand who is behind the computer. You have to be sure that, yes, it's Taavi Kotka who's behind the computer and uses these e-services. You have to be sure about that. And there has to be some kind of guarantee. The best guarantee could be the government guarantee. So the government started to issue national ID cards. And of course, all the people in Estonia are numbered. I know that you don't like it here in Germany. but we are numbered like in all other Scandinavian countries, and that's my number. And now you freak out because this is like public presentation, and why I tell this number to everybody. But that's the thing that Europe doesn't get, and I can't understand why they don't get it. So if you want to connect information, and private sector creates information, and the public sector creates information, and you are all engineers, you know, if you want to connect that information, both sides need to use the same unique identifier. Like, without that, it's impossible to connect the data. So if you want to get the maximum benefit out of data exchange and data created in different places and connect it and create something big, you need to use the same identifier. So that's one of the core elements. So that's the thing, and that's my digital name. It's not security. It's like the same name like here, but like there can be many John Smith in the world. There can be many guys with this name. Okay, it's hard to pronounce here. It's Taavi Kotka. It's in English. It's David Eagle. So yeah, but in digital world, that's my name, and I'm proud of that. I'm not ashamed of my real name. Why should I be ashamed of my digital name? And it's not security. Security is built in a different way. Of course, the card has a chip. It's here in my hand. And that's the great thing we copied from Finland. Actually, it works only in Estonia. It doesn't work in Finland. Because we added an enormous innovation on top of this card. We made it mandatory. In Finland, it was voluntary, so nobody took it. Because always when you create this kind of new technology, there is a chicken and egg problem. In the beginning, there is not enough services what you can use with the cards. And the service providers didn't want to create those services because there are not enough users. So it's a chicken and egg problem, and you have to solve it. And we solved it by force. That's the good thing, actually. Many good reforms in Estonia we have done because of like using force. Like e-schooling, for example. How to push people to use e-school. We created a platform where the students, teachers, parents, the school can communicate. But to push it, like, to make it actually happen, how to push people to use it. Okay, the key elements are the teachers. But like, if you think about 14 years ago, like 2002, teachers were not the best computer users. So how to force teachers to use that? Okay, I give you a hint. You don't get paid if the topics and the grades are not in the system. The implementation took 2 months. Then they ran out of money, and then they started to use the system. So that's the way how you should do this kind of reforms. But yeah, having these tools, having this card, pushing people to use the internet creates enormous new abilities. One thing what we have been created is digital signatures. Like in Estonia, everybody uses digital signature. So if you approach Estonia with paper contract, they get suspicious. Why you use this non-environment friendly and inefficient method to do business? It's normal that, like, if for example, let's say that we do a contract. I do it in the Word, Microsoft Word, let's say, and they save it, right-click, sign digitally, I send it to you, you sign it digitally, you send it back over the email, takes less than 2 minutes. If you sign contracts here in Germany at the moment, you print it out, you sign it, then you call to DHL, and then DHL takes the contract, you pay 50 euros, takes it to another city, like a couple of days, other party signs, takes it back, at least a week, at least 100 euros. Why? Why you can't use this? I know there's a huge lobby group against digital signatures in Europe. Especially 2 companies from Germany are behind that lobby. One was already named. You can guess what's another one. It's Lufthansa. Many business trips are cancelled if people start signing contracts digitally. But that's not the point. That's the point that you can actually, if you have a digital signature and if the whole society uses that, you can create enormously fancy stuff. Let's see if I'm able to do that demo. That's Estonia, 9 months per year. So it's actually outside in summer at the moment. So let's see if we have an internet here. So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm voting. That's voting in Estonia. So that's me, that's my name, that's my digital name. I proceed. This is a list of candidates. Funny names, you need. Let's say that one. I select, I vote, I digitally sign my vote. And that's it. That's voting in Estonia. Already more than 10 years, and the only country in the world. Norway tried and then freak out. I don't know why. It works. Do you want to see again? You can, again. There was a gentleman here who said, you can't vote twice. Yes, you can. You can vote as many times you want. A lady voted 687 times. We sent the police there. The lady opened a door and said, do you have a problem with that? No. And they voted again. That's the point of e-voting. You have to be able to vote again. Because if somebody puts gun in your head and says, vote for me, okay, I vote for you. And then you leave, and they vote again. And again, and again, and again. Always the last vote counts. So I mean, like, the votes are counting on a counting day, not during the voting period. So you can vote, it's like putting your vote in the envelope, and the envelope stays there. If you change your mind, you put your new envelope, but you throw all the envelope away. And then on a voting day, you calculate the votes. That's how it works. And we love it. That's perfect. But that's not the thing I want to talk about. Let's say, and we are back, right? Yeah. In the beginning, of course, young people loved it more. But now elder people even use it more than young people. Because we mostly have our votings in March. And it's slippery and snowy outside. They don't want to walk on the streets. They prefer to vote over the internet. Okay, but having those objects numbered, you can start putting data together. And that's another great thing what we have in Estonia. It's a methodology and some code that helps us to connect all the government and private registers if needed. And we call it X-Road. Of course, this picture is a little bit misleading. You see, this looks like a service bus. It's not, but this picture is for politicians. It has to look good, because the real picture is this. And if I show this to the politicians, they said, do you have any organized method here? Of course we have. So it's not like a service bus, it's point-to-point connections. And it's like true pictures like this. So everything is connected in Estonia. Everything is digital. We have less than 5%, if we count all the transactions and papers in our government, less than 5% is still on paper. Everything else is digital. And that's important when we talk about cloud, and it's important if we talk about digital continuity. So why I talk about digital continuity, of course, Estonian government, like any other government, has a plan for cloud, or we have a government cloud. We don't have data centers. We don't have government data centers. Basically, everything is outsourced, or institutions have their own, sellers. Let's call them this way. But we see the like how this cloud thing is slightly different way. To give you a hint, in 1991, Estonia broke apart from Soviet Union. The first question for the country was, who are the citizens of Estonia? There were many Russians, like during the occupation period, many Russians coming in, so you have to differentiate, like who are the citizens of Estonia, who are not the citizens of Estonia. So how you can solve this question? It was solved in a way that if you were able to prove that any of your ancestors was Estonian during the First Republic in 1918 up to 1940, if any of like grannies or mother or father was part of that country back then, you are Estonian. How you prove that? You basically present an old archive materials, like church books, National Archive materials, that to prove that, yes, my granny was Estonian. Okay. Archive materials, paper. 3 years later, 1994, there was a reform. The government wanted to restore the property status what was there before occupation. So if your grandfather or father owned a farm or house before 1940, you got it back. The government wanted to restore the status of the property like it was before occupation. Because during the Russian times, or the Soviet Union times, like many of the property was grabbed away. So the government gave it back. Again, you had to prove that, using good archive materials, that that stuff belonged to your family before the Second World War. How you do that? Old archive materials. But now, in an Estonian case, if everything is digital, if there is no paper proof anymore, and let's say that in 2050, we want to restore the situation what we had in 2019. Of course, like zero probability this happens, but let's see. What if I'm the government CIO? I have to deal with those questions, like, what should I do? How can I keep digital continuity when there is no paper? Today, for example, if me and you go to court and you claim that this building in our capital belongs to you, and you have a paper proof for that, but I have different information in the national registry, I win in court. So in Estonia, digital information runs over paper, because paper are easy to, make a fraud case. So how can we guarantee digital continuity? Of course, with this audience, you say, okay, start doing backups. No, yeah, of course, we're doing that. We're doing that already almost 10 years. And we use different cloud providers for that. But mostly how we do backups is we can't do it in all these cloud providers because the world is broken at the moment, at least a little bit. So what we do with the special sensitive data, we keep it in our embassies, physical embassies all around the world. Not physically in Estonia, but also like in UK, in US. So we keep backups. But what if the backup is not good enough? What if we have to run this application outside from Estonia? Let's say, for example, all our law is in an application called State Gazette. So we don't have printed out law. Everything that is Estonian law is in the internet, and it has to be there. The application has to be available, whatever happens. And let's say that we run it from our Washington embassy in DC. And let's say that this embassy now, it's in AT&T network. Let's say the embassy gets attacked, cyber attacked heavily. For AT&T as a telecom provider, it's quite simple. One IP gets attacked, you just turn it off from your network, and your network works fine. Yes, it's fine for AT&T, it's not fine for us. So we have to make it work in any case. So we went one step further, and we created a new concept called data embassies. So embassy for data. So if you think about, we have a friendly country for like towards us, let's say it's UK, and in their government data center, there is an iron cage in the middle of the room, and inside that cage there are computers, and that cage is Estonian soil or Estonian territory. That's our embassy, digital embassy. Because physical embassies are not good enough for data. I mean, like, they don't have like double backup, double electricity, double cooling, all this, what is needed for data. They don't have it. But data centers, they have it. And now we just need to create a new type of thing that goes under Vienna's convention. So diplomatic immunity. You shouldn't touch that. Actually, we need to go even one step further. And together with Microsoft, we are working with the concept of virtual data embassies. So instead of having an iron cage inside of some kind of data center, why not to virtualize all this, and let's like have a contract between, for example, US government, cloud provider, and Estonian government, and let's create virtual data embassies. That's possible. We know that because we already have tested it. It works. And it's like Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter. You put your soul in different places, and basically, even if you don't have a control over your country or territory anymore, you still can run your country. Because if you think about what it takes to run a country, okay, so what you need. Let's say that we want to form a new country. What we need? People. I mean, like, there has to be somebody who thinks like us and wants to create this country. We need people. What else we need? Money, okay. Yeah, most probably we need money. Territory we don't need. We don't need territory. We need some kind of identification. We already saw that can be implemented. If we want to create a democratic country, we need location-independent voting system. You already saw that. Can the parliament work location independently? Yes, if they have digital signature that is equal with notary signature. Yes, you can. Can cabinet work location independently? Yes, you can. Can we have a court when the judge is in Paris, one party in Canada and one in Australia? Yes, we can, of course, not with criminal cases, but like if we want to, like if we agree that we will follow this law, we can have this kind of courts. Taxation, possible. It's possible. If you think about Jews before the country of Israel was created, I think it was 1947 or 48, sorry if I don't remember the year correctly, they acted as a nation without territory. And I even give you like a slightly better example from current stages. Let's take ISIS. What is their territory? Libya, Syria, London. But they try to act as a country. So what I want to say is that the location is not so important anymore. We have even done studies, and it's way more important how you feel here, not here. So I'm an Estonian, even if I work, like, let's say, 2 years in Singapore, yes, I'm part of that society, yes, I pay local taxes there, etc., but deep here, I'm still Estonian. I have my Estonian tradition, Estonian understandings, everything. So that's where the world is going. So this challenges us. And we thought that as currently we are able to serve Estonians all over the world, I mean, like Estonians who live in Silicon Valley, they can vote, they can be part of our society, or they can pay taxes. I mean, like, what new opportunities this creates to us? And we challenged ourselves with a question like, can we be a bigger country? Like, to remind you, Estonia is 1.3 million people, so it's an extremely small country. And like, it's same with companies, like in countries. If you want to get more revenue, if you want to create more wealth to your people, you need to grow. You need to grow. I mean, like, with the companies, you need to sell more. If you want to sell more, the obvious solution is get more customers. That's the solution. So, and the countries do the same thing. They try to get more customers. So how can we create more customers to Estonia? First of all, you can start doing babies. That's an option. Those are mine. So I went to my wife and said, you know, I took this 10 million challenge. I want to make Estonian something meaningful, like Sweden. Sweden is a 10 million country, so a role model to us, like, let's be something meaningful. Let's be like Sweden. Let's start doing babies. My wife said, go to Germany. So that door is closed. So yes, this is an option. This is an option for Egypt, for example. They pop out one Estonian every year. Egypt is able to grow their population 1.5 million every year. So that's an option for them. That's not an option for us. But that's an option, at least. You can't tell we tried. I mean, like, I have 3 children. I tried. So this doesn't work. So what else you have? You can start bringing in more people. And there will be a competition between countries. You already noticed that. I mean, like, we have a great Estonian company called Teleport that helps you to locate where you should be with your startup or with your company. And as you know, I mean, like, there is a continuous fight, not even between countries, but even more between cities. Like here on the slide, you can see comparison between Berlin and London. Like if you value housing and cost of living more, then Berlin is a better place than London. So what people are starting to do, they started to compare where to live. Basically, they put all those things like in a list, and then they compare, like, okay, beer is way cheaper in Berlin than in London, so we should move to Berlin. But that's what they do with their physical life. They just try to find the best conditions. Estonians, even if they work abroad, when they have children, they move back to Estonia. And it's because of education. We have the second best education in Europe after Finland, and that's what the parents want to give to children. But it's not the solution with Estonia. Like, Estonians who are abroad, they come back, but we need more. We need extra. And that's what we are missing. Immigration is not a solution for Estonia. Simple reason. They don't want to come. It's cold up there, you know. It's +5 in average in Estonia, and all of the. And if you think about on the same latitude, there is Norway, Sweden, Estonia. Loads of social benefits, loads of social benefits, no benefits. It's an obvious choice for an immigrant to go, like, or choose where to go. Thank you, European Union. At least you send us something now. I mean, like, so we get at least something. So, but as physical people, they didn't want to live in our harsh climate, and they didn't want to come to Estonia. But we still want to grow. What's our option? So we invented this. That's a concept of e-residency. If Muhammad is not willing to come to the mountain has to go to the Muhammad. So we are able to serve Estonians all around the world. Who says that we only need to serve Estonians? We can serve others also. We can provide this location-independent environment, easy to access, easy to use. You can live in Tonga, you can live in New Zealand, you can live in Canada, doesn't matter. If you want to have a business in Europe, do it through Estonia. So it doesn't matter where you live, you can still use our environment. And if you look at the trends, the world is changing. Their estimation is that there will be 100 million global, service providers, consultants, freelancers, who provide the services location independently. If you think about an engineer who has a daily job, all his social guarantees are covered, everything's great, but he knows that he has some kind of exceptional knowledge that he could sell globally. And now he wants to start a business. How to create a business. It takes 2 weeks here in Germany. And then it's a huge cost afterwards to all the accounting and all the bureaucracy you have to do. Can it be more simple? Can it be that I just go to the web page, I have you have to enter the company name, let's say it's like Eagle and Sons, and then push create button, and you have a bank account, you have a business, everything is taken care of, and you run it from distance. You run it, not through directors, like there's a neighboring country here, called, I think, Luxembourg, who provide that kind of service, that you control that. And even better, your taxes are paid in your own country. What is broken with the tax system at the moment in the world is that the rule is that taxes should be paid where the value was created. Skype was created in Estonia, taxes were paid in Luxembourg. So that's not the way how the thing should go. The tax should be paid where value is created. And having all these e-tools, e-functions, what we are able to do, even if you use our society, but you live in Canada, we share this information with Canadian tax authorities, and you still pay your taxes there. But you have a convenient, easy-to-use environment for running your business. So that's the platform. And there are many services you can actually automate and make more easy to use. Yeah, there's a Republican campaign at the moment, so that's the evangelist of Apple. So, numbers are good. Our, population is increasing. We have 10,000 more new e-residents during the first year. 10,000 seems to be a small number. But if you think about it, we have 650,000 working age persons in Estonia, 650,000. So 10,000 more or add to this is 1.5% growth already. And we haven't already started. I mean, we just barely touch it this at the moment. But with digital society, with country in the cloud, you basically can scale very rapidly. So you have seen this picture before. It's a famous picture that Uber is the world's largest taxi company without any cars, or Airbnb is the largest accommodation provider without any rooms. I will add one extra to here. Estonia, the world's largest country, has 1.3 million physical residents. And of course you laugh, but if you think about it, that it doesn't matter, the physical location is not so important. It's here you still will be like a guy from Berlin, guy from Frankfurt or Paris or Rome, but you live wherever you want to live, in London, in US, in Singapore, doesn't matter. But the best government services you could use, they might come from Estonia, and that's our chance. So even the small ones can be big in digital times, and you know that for the best. So continue to think big. Thank you for having me here. I hope that you got something from the digital embassies and virtual embassies point of view. And please please apply for e-residency and become an Estonian. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've got a couple of minutes just for one quick question. One of the big objections to e-voting and electronic signatures, particularly in the UK where I am, is that it doesn't feel provably secure to the layman. when you have a regular voting booth, you have physical things that are being watched by multiple people at all times. And the idea that it goes off to a server somewhere where things can happen is a big block. How do you convince the public that this is secure?
If you go to physical voting, you go into the booth is secure. You are there with a pen, with a paper, and the phone. So you write down the candidate name. Let's say it's 651. You take a picture of that paper. You close the envelope, you put it in a box, you go outside, and you are the candidate of 651. See, I voted for you. $10. So you can rate like frauds in like real life quite easily. I mean, like, who says that the normal voting is secure?
It's more that attacks on e-voting seem like you could do them on a large scale or systematically, as opposed to.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, like in the Estonian case, I think the best proof that the system works well and right is our political situation. We have a right wing who runs the country, almost 10 years, and we have a left wing who runs the capital of Estonia. Capital of Estonia is 65% of Estonian economy. So the right wing wants to do anything to get to run the capital, and the opposition does anything to run the country. And that's 10 years they have not able to change that status. It's the best proof that neither of them have any of control of this system. But it has been audited a lot, and we have had hackathons, and great hackers have tried to break it down. The code is open source, so everybody can observe it, how it's built and how it's used. So, and there is a trust. So at least it works in our case.
Thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, for Taavi Kotka. Thank you.